You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall.
Have bolster, blocks, and a strap handy by the side of you. Just make sure that you're nice and cool. I hope where you are. Let's mute you both, and let's begin. Alrighty. It's very hot up here as well, but the conservatory is actually probably worse. Okay, let's start seated. Comfortable seat for you. Sitting up against something if you like. Cross-legged, butterfly, whatever. And Prithvi Mudra is renowned for reducing the heat in the body. Whether or not that works, who knows? But our Prithvi Mudra is kind of increasing the air element. So it's the thumb and the ring finger that lightly touch. And then the other three fingers are just nicely outstretched. Where's your chair, Dad? Where's your little meditation chair? Oh dear. So you can let your legs go out in front of you if you like, or sit on a bolster. I'd say a bolster would probably be more comfortable. Nice. Letting that Prithvi Mudra down to the knees and just let the palms be open. Kind of take these moments into just kind of take notice of the heat, particularly where you are in your house. Hopefully not too hot, maybe a cool breeze. But yes, of course, we can still practice yoga during these hot days, but we tend to want to reduce the body temperature down. So in a moment, I'm going to introduce a pranayama technique called Shitali breath, which is a cooling pranayama. But for now, just sit, take in how you feel. Breathe in and then breathe out, letting go of your day. And just notice those breaths coming in through the nose. Notice the temperature and just exhaling through the nose as well. So just finding those precious moments to yourself as you center and ground. So sometimes when it's this hot, it's quite often hard to get motivated to do things. We fatigue a lot earlier, and also sleep can be quite interrupted. So our sleep might not be as good as it could or should be. So a lot of the postures that I've introduced today will hopefully ease you into a nice restful evening and restful sleep. Nothing, I hope, is too taxing, too warming, too heating, hopefully cooling the body temperature. But allow your intention to arise from your heart space up to your head space, honoring your body on hot days, just as much as we honor our body on cold days. If you wish to keep the Prithvi Mudra, you may do so, or you could release that out and let the palms just face up towards the sky. Let's take our Shitali breath. Shitali breath is breathing in like you're sucking in through a straw, so with an open mouth but pursed lips, and then we exhale out of the nose. So it's a and then an exhale through the nose. So we breathe in through the mouth, through gently pursed lips, as if you were sucking air in through a straw. And then exhale through the nose. Nice, slow, deep breath. So find those Shitali breaths coming in, cooling. And then exhaling, releasing. Just a couple more. Breathing in through the mouth like you were sipping cool air through a straw. Exhaling fully, long, deep breaths through the nose. And then just take one more of those Shitali breaths, breathing in through the mouth. And exhaling through the nose. Breathing normally, releasing the mudra, giving the fingers a little wiggle. Moving out into the wrists, nice and slow. Nothing is fast movements today. Slow everything down, circling the other way. And then just roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. And then let's come into our first posture of supported fish. You can choose your supported fish props, whether that be the bolster or your blocks. I'm going to go with blocks, but if you want a nice comfortable fish, go with your bolster and put a blanket or block underneath the head. And if you're going with blocks, one block is on the highest level, and then the other block is on the medium level, going down the center of the spine. That's it. So if you're using your bolster, then making sure that that's along the long length of your spine from the base of the top of the spine all the way down to the lower spine, making sure the buttocks are down on the floor. And then just gently easing yourself into the posture. Settling down, let the arms go out to the side of you, about 45-degree angle away from the hips so that the chest can open, the shoulder blades can relax, the shoulder muscles can soften, and the palms are gently face up towards the sky. And again, you have the option here of coming into that Prithvi Mudra if you like, so ring finger and tips of the thumb touch. And I'd say keep the feet long here. We're going to come into a reclined butterfly later on in the practice, so we don't need to do that one here. But just drop into the feet, the ankles, the calves, the shins, the knees, the legs, the hips, the buttocks. Really try and relax all of the lower body. And as you're here and we're holding the stillness in the mind and body together, that means keeping mind's eye focused on where you are, how you feel, any sensations that present themselves. If the mind wanders, you know that your breath anchors you into the moment and brings you back into the present. And as you lie here, almost visualize that the body is cool. So remember the last time that you felt that you were of a nice, cool temperature. So we're about halfway through our first hold. Just noticing what comes up for you as you lie in this posture. It may be a bit more of a restorative posture than a yin posture, but we can still find the benefits of holding for a number of minutes by giving in to gravity, to the weight of the body into your props. So really trying to let go and relax as much as you can without muscle engagement or contraction, letting the joints become soft and heavy. And feeling the breath, the prana, the chi flow freely around the body from crown to fingertips and to toes. Maintaining that complete meditative state of mind when nothing distracts you, nothing pulls you away. If you were holding your Prithvi mudra, you can release the mudra, opening out the palms of the hands, wiggling into the fingers, and just take some deeper breaths, maybe returning to Shitali breath, that breath in through the mouth, exhaling through the nose. Just whilst you bring yourself around to come out of the posture, bring the hands by the side of the hips, elbows come underneath the shoulders. You lift the head and the neck from your props, looking along the body, and then gently roll over to one side. Take your props away and lie all the way back down, fully onto the mat. So again, take as much space as you have around you. So spread those shoulder blades apart from one another, lift up the central spine, and really connect the rib cage from side to side to the floor. Take the hands out to the sides, feet as wide as they can go on the mat. Just feel what it's like coming out of that supported fish where you take the prop away and come out of that passive back bend. Give the hips a little shake, left and right. Wiggle into the buttocks so you can give yourself a little massage through the cheeks. And in turn, the legs will probably shake and relax into the legs, the ankles and the feet. And maybe you get a little shake going on into the waist and the rib cage and the upper back. And then gently breathe in. Lift the knees up and breathe out. Pull the knees wide of the rib cage. So it's a knees to shoulders, I'd say, knees to armpits. So we're lengthening the tailbone down the mat, but we're pulling those bent knees in towards the armpits, lengthening the spine. So thighs aren't compressing in towards the belly, so we don't create heat there, but we leave that nice, spacious, airy kind of gap between our belly and our thighs. So just release into the hips, lengthen the tailbone. And then if you like, you can start to circle those knees one way. And again, you can keep the space between the knees. They do not have to come together. And circle the other way. Roll over to one side. Gently press yourself up. Come to a tabletop. And let's find our cat and cow here. So being aware that we've had that prop in the center of our spine. So really take the focus into the area where our props were. Rounding out the spine in your cat. And then arching and extending into your cow. Long breath out on cat, long breath in on cow. And just a few more rounds. Again, just mobilizing into the spine. This also works the legs and into the hips and the glutes and the shoulders and the wrists. So let's come into our next posture, which is on a bolster. So lying your bolster down the center of your mat, maybe using a block or a blanket for the head at the top. So we're going to bring our hip flexors just to the end of our bolster. So lying flat down. And again, maybe using that block or bolster to support the head. And the arms can either thread through the gap between the bolster and the block, or they might just wrap around the front of your head support. So let go here once more. That is a complete release. This is our surfboard pose. So really soften out through the belly. Nestle yourself into that bolster. Really relaxing, softening out through the glutes. Try to disengage muscles, letting the joints relax. This is more of a restorative posture than a yin pose. Yin, we're not really working anything. We're not working towards an edge. But we are giving in to gravity to relax and let go. Just one more minute here. You may notice the heat might increase because we're kind of face down, we're breathing down to the floor rather than opening up the body. So you might notice that the heat increases here. That's why we're not staying here for too long. Last few breaths. Each exhale, you give in just a little bit more to your bolster. And then nice and slowly we lift the head, take the hands to the outer edges of the mat and just push up into a little seal pose here. So we're just aiming for a little back bend on the bolster. So the pubic bone and the hip flexors are resting on that bolster. We're just dropping the hips and lifting up the chest. So arms are nice and straight there. Good. Shoulders away from the ears, and then you can kind of move back through tabletop by tucking the toes and just free yourself off of that bolster. Circle out the hips one way and the other. Get a little bit of freedom into the hips and the glutes and the quads and hip flexors. Let's come back down onto our back. Again, you have the choice, either a block or a bolster, moving into our supported bridge pose. I'm going to go block, and I'm going to go on the medium level. So again, if you're using your block, you can choose the lowest level or the medium. The highest level is probably a little bit too high. So I'd say use a block on its lowest level. That's it. So feet are firmly planted to the floor, but the toes are relaxed. The knees are bent, and they're just nice and relaxed, and making sure that the buttocks are hanging off of the back end of that block. Now, we're lengthening out our neck, spreading our shoulder blades apart, and if you like, take the arms back into cactus. So if if that is comfortable for you. So bend at the elbows, backs of the hands down on the floor, or down by the side of the body, or out in line with the shoulders. So here we can just give in to the weight of the pelvis, weight of the buttocks, weight of the legs coming down into the hip sockets. So really feel that weight of the head of the femur coming into the ball and socket joint at the hip. And the pelvis relax. With each exhale, give in just a little bit more. If at any point through this hold you need to come out, please do, just lifting up the hips, taking the block away, and maybe coming to a constructive rest posture or shavasana. Just a reminder to maintain presence, keeping focused into the moment, not letting thoughts distract you. Of course, the mind is very powerful. It wants to think about other things when you're just finding stillness. But there is so much to actually feel and experience by just being here with yourself in the moment, experiencing the steadiness, the steady flow of your breath, sensations that the physical body are sending messages to the brain. And you don't need to be anywhere else but here. For the last minute of the posture, you have the option to go into our pontoon. So that is extending the legs along the mat. If you're on your medium level of your block, it might be a little bit high, so you can always come down to the lowest level. Or if you're in your bolster, nestling those pelvis into the comfy parts. And again, just giving in to gravity across the central band of the body. So relaxing into the quads, relaxing into the hip flexors and the psoas and the abdominals. 30 seconds left here. Nice and slowly bring the arms back, bring the legs back, return back into supported bridge first of all, spread the shoulder blades out. If you feel comfortable to do so, you can just lift the right leg, extend it up towards the sky, flex and point into the ankles and rotate just in one leg. Give it a little shake, shake it all the way down to the hip, and then place that foot down as you then lift the left. So just making sure that you're stable on that block or bolster, flexing, pointing into the ankles, rotating one way, rotating the other. And then placing that left foot down, pressing into the hands and the feet to lift the hips and take your proper way as you slowly roll down through the spine. So spreading the shoulders, keeping the neck nice and long, and roll down each and every vertebra all the way to the floor. When you get there and you feel the flatness of the bowl of the pelvis, and take the feet wide, drop the knees in towards one another, and just take the hands onto the belly. So just take a nice deep breath in through the mouth. Long, deep exhale through the mouth. Open the knees, open the arms, and just windscreen wiper those knees left and right. Bring them back into the center, roll over to one side, and we're going to return back up into that tabletop position. So coming into our cat and cow once more. Inhale for cow, exhale, rounding through the spine for your cat. And let's move into our child's pose from here. So you can widen the knees if you like. Again, creating a bit more space, a bit more air. You can lean on your bolsters if you like. Again, taking the bolster out in front of you, bringing the belly and the chest down on the bolster. Or you might not need your bolster or blocks, and maybe you just bring the head onto a blanket or to the backs of the hands. And you then create this kind of space underneath you that's a little bit more cooling than lying on your bolster. So starting to settle into child's pose, noticing again where the target areas may come for you in all of these postures that might be different places, of course. Some people feel child's pose more of a target area than others, through the spine, through the hips, maybe into the ankles or the knees. So just figure out where your target areas are and how you need to react and respond to be able to stay and hold here for another few moments. Simply being present with yourself, observing, noticing, listening, hearing. messages, sensations, experiences, feelings, thoughts. Being aware of the temperature of the body. Drawing in a visualization of coolness. And imagining the body is cooler than it might be. Taking a nice deep breath in and a long, slow, deep breath out. Prepare the body to move by bringing the hands back and again, taking time, slowly coming out of the posture, pushing down through the hands, dropping chin to chest and slowly rolling up to kneeling through the spine, bringing shoulders back over the hips. Just find that seated posture. Well, kneeling posture. Find the steadiness of the breath. Breathing in through the mouth, Shitali breath. Long, slow exhale through the nose. Two more Shitali. Breathe in through the mouth. Exhale through the mouth. Through the nose. Breathe in as if you were sucking through a straw. And exhale fully through the nose. Breathing normally. And let's come back down onto our backs. So you'll notice I've been doing a prone or a seated and then a reclined. So this time we come into our reclined butterfly. So if you like, you can use blocks underneath the knees. You can use a bolster underneath the knees. You might like to rest the feet on the bolster. I quite like that, but you do you, and let those knees fall out to the side. And again, the arms can be wherever they feel the most comfortable. We're going to be here for about 5 minutes. So arms nice and wide by the side of the body, or maybe connecting onto the hips. So palms of the hands down on the hips. Remember, shoulder blades are spread. Back is really firmly planted into the ground with the rib cage spread out. And then keep the neck soft, facial expression relaxed. And with reclined butterfly, just notice, are you gripping or tensing anywhere in the hip joints or the connective tissue and the muscles around the joints of the hip? So try to relax, first of all, into the glutes, the sphincter, the outer hips, the hip flexors. Is the back naturally arching away from the floor, or are you fighting to pull the back down? So just being aware of what you're actually doing to just hold the posture. And again, your edge might be holding, reclined butterfly with the knees open for 5 minutes. That might be an edge enough. And always honoring your body in these longer holds by coming out when you feel you need to, never holding for longer than you like. You can always come into a constructive rest or shavasana pose. Here for just another 30 seconds or so. So giving in just a little bit more for the remainder of this posture. Taking a breath in, preparing yourself to move. As you breathe out, take the hands to the outer thighs. Use the hands to lift the legs together. If your feet were on top of the bolster, you can take the feet to the wider edges, letting the knees drop together on top of the bolster. If they were on the floor, you can place the feet into constructive rest. So as you come out of that reclined butterfly pose, just being aware of what the target areas were for you and our recovery, our response. And then heel, toe, feet into parallel, draw the knees in, create that space between the thighs and the belly. Pull the knees nice and wide of the rib cage, big squeeze, lengthening the tailbone down the mat. And then open out the hips, give them a little nice joint movement there. And rolling over to one side once more. Our last seated posture. Come to a wide leg. And you can use blocks or bolsters to support the head here. So I think I might use blocks. So just relax into the feet, the ankles. And we're going to take a nice little fold forward in our wide-legged fold. Dropping down into this one nice and carefully. So with any forward folds, whether that's with the legs wide, butterflies, legs out in front of you, there is a slight drawing back of the navel. It's not an abdominal crunch. It's pulling the navel back towards the spine. So just notice the difference as you relax the belly, what happens to the lower back, and when you draw the navel in. That's the only thing that I would say in this posture, other than the rolling in of the legs. So we're still trying to work those toes to point up towards the sky. Tops of the feet, shins and knees all pointing upwards rather than rolling inwards. And those are two things that you just need to really be aware about. Certainly in a wide leg seated forward fold. Just a couple of minutes left in this one, not as long as some of the others. Take a breath in, long, slow, deep breath out. Gently lift the head, walk the hands back as you uncurl through the spine. Come all the way up to seated, shoulders back up in line with the hips. Good. Take the hands to behind the knees, lift the legs together and just bring them in front of you and just drop the head down towards the knees here and release into the inner thighs. So again, there's space between the belly and the thighs. We're not crushing out. Okay, so coming back to our backs, but hopefully you're close to a wall. If you're not close to a wall, you can make yourself into a little Stonehenge. So I'm going to use the Stonehenge version, but if you want, it's legs up against the wall and just making sure that you've got enough space. But if you're coming into Stonehenge, then you make two little kind of pillars with your blocks, and then you let the feet relax over the top. So you can choose legs up against the wall or your Stonehenge variation. And again, the arms can be by the side of the body, about 45 degrees away from the hips, or out to the side at shoulder height, or maybe cactus. But if they are coming into cactus, what I'd say is lift up the center of the spine, pull that down, and round those shoulders apart from one another. We're really trying to let everything go in this one, trying not to hold the body in place. If the legs are against the wall, really give in to those legs' weight against the prop of the wall. If you're using Stonehenge and the bolsters, really allow the calves and the knees and the lower legs to relax. And that relaxing feeling comes into the thighs and the hips, the belly and the spine. Remind ourselves of that visualization, that kind of imagining the sensation of coolness as we lie here, breathing in cool air, exhaling to release tightness and tension. And then just taking a nice deep breath in. Long, slow, deep breath out, preparing yourself, preparing the mind and body for movement. If your legs are against the wall, you're going to take those down nice and slowly, rolling over to one side and just pausing there. If you're on your Stonehenge, just gently bring the feet back and then again, roll over to one side and just pause there. So just lying down on one side. And then gently press yourself back up to seated. We're going to come to butterfly pose. Soles of the feet come together. You can sit on your block or bolster should you need to. But we're only here for a couple of minutes. We're returning back to our Shitali breath. So that is the pursing of the lips, breathing in as if you were sucking air in through a cool straw, and then exhaling through the nose. So again, it's that cooling breath. So let's take a breath in through the mouth. And fully exhale through the nose. Breathe in through open lips. Exhale through the nose. Do 3 more of those, your own pace, your own rhythm. See how long you can get that breath in. And how long the exhale is. Once you've completed those 5 breaths, breathing normally in and out through the nostrils, just to finish off, we just take a nice gentle twist towards one leg, doesn't matter which one. Just breathe in and out 3 times in that twist, opening the chest out to the thigh. Expansive across the front and back parts of the body as you breathe in, come back into center. Exhale, take the twist to the other side. Just find 3 breaths there. And then bring yourself back into center. Use the hands to lift the knees together. Give yourself a big hug, belly, chest down over the thighs. Let the hands rest on the shins or the ankles. Let the head soften to the knees. And just breathe through the back body here. So breathe wide of the waist, wide of the rib cage. Let the shoulders soften away from the ears. Drop those shoulder blades down. Relax the head and the neck. And then roll up gently through the spine. And just let's come into our Shavasana from here. So if you like, using a bolster underneath the knees, using blocks or blankets underneath the head. But just again, taking as much space as you have around you. Legs are as wide as is comfortable. Arms about 45 degrees out away from the hips, palms face up. You may return to your Prithvi mudra. That's the thumb connecting to the tip of the ring finger. And as you just make yourself comfortable, making those final adjustments, fidgeting for the last time, finding that stillness in Shavasana to close our practice together. And truly maintain presence in Shavasana. I know how easy it is for the thoughts to pop into the mind and how hard it is to maintain, presence when you're doing nothing. But this is meditation in practice. This is full immersion into yourself and only you for the next 6 minutes of your day before you re-enter back into daily life, taking yoga with you as you go, of course. But for now, this is yours, and I will give this one to you with silence and let you know when it's time to come back around. Begin to take some deeper breaths as you bring your awareness slowly back into your surroundings, into your room, onto your mat, and back into the body by wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Moving wrists, moving ankles. Take this one nice and slow and steady. There's never any rush to come out of Shavasana, but especially on a hot day. Choosing to stretch or gently draw the knees into the waists and rolling, massaging out and returning up to a comfortable seat. When you're ready, bringing the hands into the heart center, Anjali Mudra. Sitting nice and tall, just allowing your mind and body to unify once more at the end of your practice today, before going back into your daily life, into your evening. And just checking in with yourself, checking in with how your body responded to a practice during heat, how you were able to manage that heat and cool yourself down. And reminding yourself of Shitali breath at any point that you get hot over the next few weeks of the summer. Breathing in through the mouth, exhaling through the nose. Always thanking yourself, your body, your breath. And I thank you. Namaste.